welcome back. I am the Sovereign, and this is my court. If this is your first time in attendance, hello! Please consider hitting the subscribe button before you leave our kingdom. I am calling together a court council to discuss the newest released movie by Lin-Manuel Miranda, In the Heights, that is based on a stage musical of the same name. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the acclaimed creator of Hamilton, a musical that is very dear to my heart. If you are unaware, I am a thespian. I am a former theater present, still musical queen. I listen to Hamilton every day. Every day. And I am also international relations focused political science major. So, I mean, it was the convergence of just two worlds that I am obsessed over. So I listen to Hamilton every day. So this is not me completely bashing or hating Lin-Manuel Miranda because he gave me Hamilton. And you can see I'm not wearing the crown of shade. So you can't be like, oh, you hate him. No, but even if I do love someone, that does not mean you are safe from being spanked when you deserve it. And he deserves it. He deserves it. He's being dragged, along with this newest movie musical, for a well-known topic here on this channel, colorism. Colorism. Welcome back, our old friend Colorism. Long time no see. Been avoiding you. Yes, In the Heights is a movie that is based in Washington Heights, a predominantly Dominican neighborhood in New York City in the United States. I love musicals. Like I said, my playlists are full of musicals. I know musical theater. Now, New York, obviously I didn't live in Washington Heights, but I'm very much aware of the diversity in New York and specifically Washington Heights. I'm well aware. Like I said, it's supposed to be based on a Dominican neighborhood. Now, why is colorism being a debate right now? Oh my God, colorism. Again, here we go. Yeah, this is a colorism discussion based on the Latinx community this time, because there is a difference, from, the Black community, which when I say Black, I mean United States Black people. We can't claim a specific country because we were kidnapped from various countries. But being Black in the United States is different from being Jamaican, is different from being Haitian, is different from being Ugandan. There's different communities of Black people. We're not all the same, just in case you didn't know. So this is a discussion based on the Latinx community, which Lin-Manuel Miranda is, and he heavily promotes uplifting artists and people from his community, which is great. So once again, what's the issue? Well, if you've seen the In the Heights movie, or you've seen the trailer, or you've seen those atrocious interviews, I knew there was an issue off jump because the main cast looks like this. Oh, awkward. It's for those of you who are unaware. There's this thing in the Latin community where there's a real erasure of members of their community, and I can attest to that erasure because up until my very late stages of teenage years and even into early adulthood, I was not aware that there were dark-skinned individuals in Latin communities. Obviously, I wasn't raised in South America in a Latin country, so I wouldn't know any better, and blame the United States education system for being trash, garbage, for just not thoroughly explaining the far reaches of slavery. But I didn't know. And the reason I was not aware for so long of the diversity of those communities is because the representation of those communities look like this. Look like Shakira. Look like Jennifer Lopez. Constantly, it looked like these very light, bright Latin people. And that's what I understood as a foreigner, what the Latin community looked like. And this is why it's such an issue when you do not properly represent a community, because then people that are not a part of that community can't fully understand the deep diversity and context and richness that your country or community holds. And this is what happened when it came to the In the Heights musical. Like I said, it's a Dominican-based community in New York City in the United States. If you don't know why I have such a very palpable attitude, it's because if you go walk through Washington Heights, hell, go on YouTube and research Washington Heights and look at the people in Washington Heights. There's a lot of them that are dark-skinned. Dark-skinned. And this is really irritating, specifically Afro-Latin people, because it's a constant issue of their erasure. Whenever the Latin community is represented or uplifted, it only has one color. It only ever has one face. And I get their frustration because people love to pretend like dark skinned Afro, Dominicans, Panamanians, Cubans don't exist. Every time the Latinx community is represented, those faces are not present. Like Afro Latinx people, y'all really get the short end of the sticks, because at least Black people are getting some representation and acknowledgement. Like, people acknowledge our existence. People pretend like y'all don't even exist. Ghosts in the wind. Like, what was that? You heard? I thought I heard someone. Nobody. Nothing. Y'all pretend like Afro Latinx people do not exist. Like, they're always trying to justify their Latino existence. It's not like they're accepted as an inherent part of the community, which they are. Like, the dances that people associate with the Latin community came from the Afro-Latin community. Let's be specific here, okay? Salsa, merengue, those dances that the Latinx, community loves to treasure and participate in, Afro-Latin people brought that. Like, it's very insulting. So when you look at the lineup of the leads of In the Heights, it was just a massive slap in the face to the Afro-Latin community, because there's no diversity. There's y'all couldn't give them one dark-skinned person, because it's not like we're trying to force dark-skinned people down your throat. They're a massive segment of the Latin community. Like, it's not like we're just forcing dark-skinned people into positions where they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be there, okay? So it first came out, we were looking at this, and it's just like, oh, great. Yeah, here we go with the erasure of, the dark-skinned people, who I think are honestly the majority in Washington Heights. A lot, like, if you walk through Washington Heights, they're dark-skinned people. I just don't understand how you missed that. It's New York City. It was so awkward. But beyond this, then they went and gave these interviews, talking to like the cast and talking to Lin-Manuel Miranda about this issue. And shout out to the girl who was doing the interview for the Roots, because she wasn't having it.
But as a Black woman of Cuban descent, specifically from New York City, it would be remiss of me to not acknowledge the fact that most of your principal actors were light-skinned or white-passing Latinx people. So with that, what are your thoughts on the lack of Black Latinx people represented in your film?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something we talked about.
Damn, that's my girl. Like, she wasn't having it. She was like, yeah, but we're the darkies though. We're the darkies. Like, where's the melanated people? And this man had the audacity to say,
did you not see that in the dancers as well?
Those are roles that historically we've been able to fill, right? We've been able to be the dancers, and we've been able to be in the hair salons and, this and that. But like a lead, that's the breakthrough.
But didn't you see that in the background actors and the background dancers that we had them represented? And it's just like, no, you didn't. He said,
but I mean, they're in the background. It's not like we didn't. We got a couple of them as extras and some dancers and stuff.
First of all, you damn straight, you have to have some Black dancers, because like, where are you going to get your funk from? But beyond that, like I said, Afro-Latin people have brought the music you so uphold that you love, so you better. But to say, oh, but we put them in the background, like, shouldn't that be enough? Like, but they're there. So, I mean, that counts. Like, we only count as, and I'm saying I'm not Afro-Latin, okay? I'm full, okay, I can't even say I'm full-blooded ADOS, because look, my heritage is a thing, and I haven't really discussed it, because then people are going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I don't like to use my heritage to justify any nonsense, because other people like to do that. But put it this way, my full-blooded Native American ancestor passed away in her 70s in like 2007. So I do have a significant amount of Native American blood in me, but I don't like to use that as a justification for me to participate in any Native American nonsense, because that's not a culture I was raised in, though that is a part of me. I do not dispute that. But like I said, that's for a different conversation, because my heritage is like very fascinating to some people. But I am not of the Latin community. I'm not. But that's not going to prevent me from sitting here and saying, that's messed up. Like, what y'all did was messed up. And then you justify and you were like, oh, but we put them in the background. No, of course you put them in the background. Black people are always in the background. That's where we always are, is in the background. Y'all don't mind putting one or two people in the background who are of darker skin. That's never been an issue for Hollywood. But as the lady said in the interview, the real, groundbreaking representation comes from when they're actually represented as an important part of the community, when they are represented as important parts of a storyline, or able to have their own story that is worthy of being followed. That's where the representation matters. And once again, it was just like the Afro-Latin community was just completely overlooked up until it came time to cast a couple background dancers. And they were like, oh yeah, make sure you throw in a couple of those. Like, make sure you do that. We can't don't want it to look too light. We got to make it look a little bit urban. And then there was this other interview where one of the lead actresses was just like, yeah, I went to a casting and they definitely did have some, dark-skinned Afro-Latinx people there, but they really just casted who was right for the role. And it's just like, yeah, of course they did. It just so happens that every time they casting who's right for the role, everybody everybody passes the paper bag test. It just so happens that, everybody who was right for the role passed the paper bag test. Like, that's just letting us know that y'all definitely did have some dark-skinned people to choose from, and you decided not to. And it gives this idea that they're unable to find any Afro-Latin people that are right for any role. Like, it gives this idea that you can... So Afro-Latin people just can't act then, or sing. Because you're telling me, and the entire city of New York, okay? In the entire city of New York City, you couldn't find one Afro-Latin person who could act, sing, and dance. You couldn't find one in all of New York. Lies. They were casting who was right for the role. Yeah, I definitely believe that. They were also doing that in the 50s. They were just casting who was right for the role and then spray painted everybody's face black because white people played better black people than black people. That's what happened. And like I said, I'm not trying to trash like Lin-Manuel Miranda, because he does do his best to, uplift communities of color. But this was like a horrendous misstep on his part and everybody's part. Like, this movie had to go through so many different hands, so many different levels of approval to get to this point. So it's not like it can be laid at the feet of one person. There's a lot of people that contributed to this nonsense. A lot of people put their stamp of approval on this, and nobody stopped to think like, hey, I grew up in the Dominican Republic, a place, an island that shares its border with Haiti. This doesn't look right. Like, nobody stopped to just think. Hell, nobody stopped to go take a freaking stroll through Washington Heights and see what the people look like. It's just annoying. Do you see? I'm just aggravated. I'm aggravated. And I'm not even Afro-Latinx. I'm just aggravated at the misrepresentation of very diverse places in New York City and on behalf of the Afro-Latin people, because this really could have been a moment for them. This really could have been a moment. Like, this was such like a monumentous occasion, and Lin-Manuel Miranda has been such an advocate for diversity and on behalf of the Latinx community that it hurts. And I hurt for Afro-Latin people to see that someone who's advocated so heavily for your community didn't consider you as someone worthy of advocating for. Like, Lin-Manuel Miranda does a lot to uplift the Latin community, but it's almost like he forgot conveniently that the dark people were a part of his community. Like, when anybody ever wants to advocate for the Latin community, it's only a specific portion of the Latin community. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to them. And I feel bad. And I've talked about diversity when it comes to many different cultures. It's not just Latin. It's not just Black. It's not even just the United States. I've discussed this diversity issue when it comes to India and even any of the Asian countries. When you go to specific countries, you see that there's only a certain portion of the community that is represented in the media, that is uplifted and upheld as something worthy to aspire to or worthy of watching. And it is unfair, and you're robbing your own country of the plethora of diversity and what value diversity brings. Like, I talk about pageants a lot, right? Being able to bring women of a more unique look or a different culture is an asset to your country. You want to have that diversity and use it to your benefit and show off your country and say, look at the range of beauty our women represent. Look at the range of beauty that we have, this abundance of glorious and outstanding women. You want to use that to your advantage because that is something to be proud of. Diversity is something to be proud of, and it is beautiful. So just this hurts a bit. And I'm not even Afro, I'm not Afro Latinx, but I'm definitely of the Afro community. And I'm sorry. Like, I know it sucks because to this day, I mean, off the top of my head, I can't really point to a place where Afro Latin people aren't being erased. I can't. And I feel really bad for them because even when it comes time for Afro people to be represented, it's almost like the rest of the paper bag passing of their community want to shun them or harass them or call them ugly. And there is a discussion to be had of the Latinx community as a whole, like shunning their African ancestry. That's a problem and it needs to be dealt with, and don't be like, hey, she's calling Latin people racist. Get out of your feelings. No, I'm not. But I am advocating for that discussion to be had and those conversations to be had, and maybe look a little bit inward to think why these people are constantly being pushed to the background, particularly the background dancers. Now, this discussion is all over the internet. It's happening on YouTube, and Lin-Manuel Miranda and the other director, I believe, has come out and, totally confessed to making a few mistakes when it came to the representation of this movie. They have, because people are going to be in the comment section wanting a cape as if I don't adore Lin-Manuel Miranda, but even if I adore you, you should know that's not going to save you from getting spanked on the butt when you damn well need it, and this needs to be talked about. But don't be down in the comments caping for Lin-Manuel when he completely confesses.
Lin-Manuel is now apologizing and promising to do better. I can hear the hurt and frustration over colorism, he writes on social media. I'm truly sorry. I'm learning from the feedback. I thank you for raising it, and I'm listening.
So there's no real disputing this. It's just we're going to have this discussion and then move on and hopefully do better. I'm sorry, Afro Latin people. I just have to say I'm sorry because it always seems like people are pushing you on and like, oh, there'll be another project. There'll be another time for representation. There'll be another time. There'll be another time. This isn't the movie. Like, it's not, like I said, this is not us trying to force Afro Latinx people down everyone's throat. It's that they are a valid member of the community and should be treated as such. We're not forcing them into positions where they don't belong. They actually belong there. You erased them. That's the problem. But like I said, still, I'm not disowning Hamilton. This movie, will I be watching it though? No. I heard it's great. But like, honestly, it kind of hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. This movie kind of hurt my feelings for the way that y'all kind of shunned the Afro Latin people. Like, it was too blatant and obvious, and so I have chosen not to watch it. And this is a big deal for me because I love musicals of any type. Okay? Like, I have Moulin Rouge in my playlist. I got like Putnam County Spelling Bee in my playlist. I watch all the musicals. So for me to say I'm not watching a musical is a big deal, but it's got a bad aftertaste to me. In the comment section below, let me know what you think of the situation. Are you an Afro Latinx person? How do you feel? Like, I understand. I get it. But let us know how you feel, how it impacted you. If you are of the Latin community, let me know what you think about this situation. How you feel about the representation in this movie. Are you a New Yorker? How do you feel? Just sound off on your thoughts, your feelings. Did you like the musical? Do you think I'm making a mistake in not watching the musical? I just, maybe I'll get over it and watch it. But for right now, I don't see myself watching it. But just let me know what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. And if this is your first time here in attendance, hello. Please consider hitting the subscribe button. I would love to see your fabulous face again. I love you and I won't miss you, but I will be back in a future video. Bye!